why don't we do a poll? And I challenge CNN, New York Times, Gallup, anyone to do this poll. And if none of them accept the challenge, then we'll do the poll. We'll commission the poll, and then we'll see. And then they could verify it if they like. And the poll is, does America owe Israel any more money? Because every pundit on television say, we owe Israel. We owe Israel. They never explain why, right?
People really say that?
All the time. They say, okay, what do you mean, $300 billion? You owed Israel. Of course you should pay them $300 billion. Why did I pay them 21 or 31 billion in the middle of a genocide? You owe Israel. Why do I owe Israel? No one ever explains.
I've never heard that. They actually say that out loud. We owe them?
Of course.
For what? Where's the debt from?
Yeah. And and when I press on every one of these talking points, that's part of why they despise me, right? And I say, okay, help me understand that. Why would we owe Israel? Well, they suffered a Holocaust, the Jewish people. Well, first of all, the Jewish people did, not Israel, right? That's different. Okay, but wait, we rescued them from the Holocaust.
And all those Americans died. A lot of them, hundreds of thousands of Americans died fighting that war.
If we rescued them from the Holocaust, why do we owe them money? It's like none of these talking points make any sense. If all you do is, just prick the bubble and people instantly go, oh, wait a minute, lift the curtain. So here, we rescued
But they'll actually say that?
Yeah. So the Bosnians, right, for example, right, we rescued them from a genocide from the Serbs, right? And I'm proud of that. And I think we did, we saved tons and tons of lives. And you can say, maybe we shouldn't have interfered. Maybe we should be more isolationist. It's a good debate, but at least we did something demonstrably good there. Okay. Did the Bosnians, after we rescued them from the genocide, come and to say to us, you owe us? No, they said, thank you. By the way, you won't find anyone on this planet who loves Americans more than Bosnians. Okay. And so they love America. They appreciate America. Poland lost 5 million people in the Holocaust, 1.8 million non-Jews, 3 million Jews. So after the Holocaust, Poland could have said, you owe us. No, we saved Poland. Russia saved Poland. We saved Jews. Russia saved Jews. By the way, did Russia ever get a thank you after losing, 20 million or so people in the war? Right? Instead, now Israel's constantly attacking Russia. I got no love for Russia. I think Putin is wrong. I don't think he should have invaded Ukraine. But wait a minute. Why does anybody owe Israel for anything? It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So now they want a new memorandum of understanding. They were going to try to make it 20 years, and partly because of you and us and all the people that are going, wait, why? That a memorandum of understanding is the president saying, we owe you for the next 10 years, 20 years, etc.
And that's an agreement between the United States and Israel.
Yes. So, for example, Obama signed a 10-year memorandum of understanding saying we owe Israel $3.8 billion every year for 10 years.
So no votes on it during that period.
The only votes you get is it gets put automatically into the budget every year. And once it gets put in, you have to actively take it out. But if you have to go to take it out, they'll call you an anti-Semite and try to ruin your career. I have amazing stories about that. Marie Newman, a U.S. Congresswoman, voted against one of the appropriations that Israel got. 4 Democratic colleagues come on the floor of the House and say, how dare you? How dare you vote against Israel? We're going to take away all your money.
Actually?
Yes, you could ask Marie Newman about it. She said it on the Young Turks. This happened just a couple of years ago. Okay, she was in Congress from Illinois. They said, we're going to take away all your money and we're going to spend a ton of money against you.
Her own party?
Yeah, her own party. And that's what happened. They spent about $4 million against her, eliminated.
No way.
Andy Levin, a Jewish American congressman from Michigan, kind of a legendary Jewish family in Michigan.
Yeah.
Carl Levin was a senator.
Yeah, Sandra Levin, yeah.
Yeah. Andy Levin says two-state solution. He says, I love Israel. I'm a Zionist. Okay. But obviously we should have a free and independent Israel and a free and independent Palestine. $4 million against Andy Levin, eliminated.
No way.
Eliminated. Jamal Bowman, you think it was about the fire alarm? Hey, you might be upset about the fire alarm or whatever else Jamal Bowman did. The Israeli lobby spent $19 million eliminating Jamal Bowman. Cori Bush, eliminated. Okay. Anyone who opposes Israel is eliminated.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, this is shocking, and I'll confess I don't follow the details of Democratic politics closely enough to have heard of any of this. I knew about Jamal Bowman, but the rest I didn't. So I wonder about that strategy, which they're now employing on the right and trying to slandering people as Nazis or trying to get them killed. which they're doing. But I wonder, like, as a strategy, obviously it's immoral, but does it actually work? Isn't it better to say, as you would in any negotiation, like, here are the things I actually care about. Let's see if we can come to terms. Like, allow a little bit of flexibility. There's no flexibility allowed.
Well, Tucker, congrats. You have forced Israel into some flexibility almost single-handedly.
I don't feel that at all. I feel that because I've never been against Israel, and I'm not against Israel now. I'm not against any person, actually. And I'm certainly, as a Christian, totally opposed to hating a group based on its blood. That would include whites, blacks, Hispanics, Turks, and Jews. And I mean that. So whatever, I've really tried to be like, whoa, let's settle this down. It doesn't work. And I just wonder, that doesn't seem like a good strategy. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, just as a negotiating position, it's like you have to have some willingness to move. You can't be that rigid or you're not going to win in the end.
Yeah. So the reason I said that is because, look, first let's distinguish. There's mainstream media purposely blends all these things together, partly because Israel wants to use Jewish Americans as human shields. They want to say, if you're attacking us, you're attacking Jewish Americans. And so you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to, right? But in reality, there's Jews as people / Jewish Americans. Then there's how you feel about Israel. Then there's how you feel about the Israeli government, right? We are talking about the current Israeli government. And they say, no, you're talking about Jews, because they want to hide behind that, right? When we keep saying, no, not the Jews, and they're like, no, the Jews, we're like, stop saying the Jews. It's not the Jews.
Well, moreover, I get to define what I think and what I'm talking about. And let me repeat myself. I think anti-Semitism is immoral and I won't engage in it ever, period. So I get to decide, because I'm a sovereign man, what I think, and I can try to express it as well as I can. No one has a right to tell you what you think.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious to the.
Well, it's Orwellian. It's like, are you in charge of my soul?
Yeah.
I don't think you are.
So, for example, I'm an atheist. So what does that mean? That means I think all humans are pretty much the same genetically, right? I'm stone cold. So if you told me a Jewish, a Muslim, a Christian, a Hindu is different, I'm philosophically opposed to that. I'm ideologically opposed to that. I'm scientifically opposed to that. I just think it's wrong. It's not, It's incorrect, factually incorrect. So that is a distraction, and they've now weaponized the term anti-Semitism, which also does a lot of damage, because when real anti-Semitism comes, people will think, oh, those are the heroes fighting against the genocide, right? That's what I was told.
But it also scares people. I mean, I've experienced this a lot in my personal life, where people I know and love have been convinced that I'm, Nazi or Nazi adjacent or hate Jews or whatever, and that I'm trying to hurt people, which is literally the opposite of what I would ever want to do. I don't agree with that at all. And I say that constantly, but they've whipped people into a frenzy, preying upon their deepest fears. And there are many victims of that kind of evil, but one of the victims is the people who are being terrified. Like, 100%. People are terrified.
I think actually the number one target of Israeli propaganda is Jewish Americans.
Oh, of course.
They say, if it's not for Israel, the whole world hates you and you're all going to die. You're all going to die. Everyone hates you.
And it's an unreasonable hate. It's a hate that can't be even reasoned with or discussed. You don't have to know anything about why people disagree. It's hate. It's fundamentally irrational, and it will never end. And until they kill you or you kill them, it's like, whoa, that is a very heavy thing. First of all, it's untrue. Second, you're inspiring violence by talking like that. I mean, the only endpoint of that kind of thinking is violence. It can only be solved by violence. Kill or be killed. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. And so again, Mad Lib it, say, okay, let's say that you oppose something the Turkish government did, which I hope you do, because they've done plenty of bad things. I oppose a bunch of things that the Turkish government has done. I
just don't like Turks. That's my problem.
But I mean, that's the point, right? Yeah. If you said, hey, I don't think the Turks should have gone into northern Syria, and I say anti-Turkish racist, you'd be like, what? What kind of lunatic are you? Right? That's not a thing. That doesn't, just because you disagree with the actions of a government at this time doesn't mean that you hate Turks in perpetuity, forever and ever. You hated them before, you hate them after. No, I just don't agree. Look, I didn't agree with the Iraq war. Does that mean I hate Americans? No, it means I don't agree with that government action taken at that time.
Of course. For years, you've been told this is not happening and you're a bigot for thinking it is. But it is happening. Mass migration is reshaping the West completely. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Different people live here now. You're not a racist for noticing that. You're just using your senses. Again, it's not a theory. It's the biggest fact of this or any generation in 1,000 years. The replacement is real. European governments aren't just tolerating mass migration. They're encouraging it. They're funding it. They hate their populations and they want new populations. We've got a new documentary on this called Replacing Europe, Following the World's Deadliest Migration Route. Our filmmakers follow what nobody wants you to see. They spoke directly with migrants, locals, officials who admit what the public is never told. It's not ideological. It's reality. This is happening. It's destroying the West, and our cameras caught it. Replacing Europe. That's the doc, only on TCN now. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.